the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Ghost. Amen. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus.
Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners now and at the hour of our death. Amen.
Our Lady, seat of wisdom,
Pray for us.
Saint Pius X,
Pray for us.
our guardian angel,
Pray for us.
and the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Ghost. I apologize for cutting short your Thanksgiving. Did it too much. So, well, as well, we planned to give a conference yesterday, but no, unfortunately, the mass was started very late. So, especially family with children, it will be difficult after a certain time to stay back. So, okay, I'll tell you today. A little bit, I don't know whether it's news or whether it's a normal happening, whatever it may be, however that you want to take it, it's up to you. But just want to say a few things, particularly about what we do back in India. Suppose you know that I come from India. So what do we do in India as far as the resistance is concerned? So that is what I will try to summarize it as short as possible. And to begin, I'll begin with this: the presence of the Society of Saint Pius X in India. The work or society came to India in 1986. That has been prepared by the visits of few priests, such as Father Hogan from Australia here, and you have Bishop Williamson himself. Before he was considered as a bishop. So a few little visits like that was made to India to gather some contacts and all that. And eventually, a seminary professor at the Cone, Father LaRoche, he came as well. He used to visit this kind of Eastern countries during this holiday time, which is the month of for them it's July, August. So he came. I don't know how many times, but he did come a few times, I think, to India, visit places with some of the deacons of that time, visited India and kind of prepared a groundwork in a certain sense. Eventually, the society came to India in 1986. So it's more than 25 years now in India. And at the time, mostly, just before that, it was being taken care from priests from Australia, like Father Hogan. But eventually they settled in 1986. Few priests, I think two of them at least, maybe three. But it took a very long time to establish anything in India. A lot of problems, language problems. They don't know exactly where to settle in. They followed ideas given by other friends, priests, I suppose. Somehow they ended up in the south of Tamil Nadu. Now, in the hindsight, they think of that and say, perhaps we should have gone a little bit upper. Because going down well in the state of Tamil Nadu, it's not easy to again travel back to other circuits in the north. But anyway, it's too late. They are there. About 8 or 9 mass centers are there in the state of Tamil Nadu, which is the southeastern part of Tamil Nadu, of India. The bottom, the bottom half of India is like a triangle, like this. So the right side of the triangle you have Tamil Nadu and the left side is Kerala. So in the eastern coast is Tamil Nadu and well, they have the priory there. In the state of Tamil Nadu there are about 8 to 9 mass centers presently. And apart from these mass centers in Tamil Nadu, they have few other places like Bangalore, Goa, the body of St. Francis Xavier's. Then you have Bombay and Vasai. Vasai is a place north of Bombay where the Portuguese have settled there. So these were the mass centers mainly taken care by the society. When I was a part of the society, which was, I was ordained in 2004. So first 2 years I was in Sydney, around there. Then 6 to 10 I was in India. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 5 years I was in India. I was mostly based on the south. Priories is the south, and I was given charge of 3 mass centers. So I was taking care of them. And so basically this is the situation there. And this resistance, the whole thing happened, the crisis happened in 2012. And at that time I was in Philippines. I was transferred beforehand to Philippines. I was there in 2011, 2012. 2 years. 1 year I was in Manila, other year in the revision in Iloilo. So the crisis came to the public space we want, which was underneath beforehand. Nobody knew about it. Very selected people knew about it. Anyway, it came to the public knowledge of the priests, of the society and of the faithful after 2012. And all in Philippines it happened that it was a priest meeting. Bishop Williamson was invited. Bishop Williamson, as you know, he was put on the attic in London. So he was not traveling that much. Rarely he traveled. So we kind of convinced Father Kuchu to invite him over so that he can give us conference, talk to the people and all that. So I suppose whether willingly or reluctantly they invited him, and Bishop did come. And during the priest conference, he gave that classic conference. He used to draw a picture how starting from the church, the liberalism, how heretics fell left of it each time. So I think he started that conference right there in Manila during the peace conference. At that time, he would kind of hesitate to say, put the SSPX. He put SSPX, going like that, then he puts question mark. It's tendency that's going that way, it's going that way. He didn't really say it has gone, because it's still I suppose a certain thing has to be maintained, I suppose. Maybe he knew before. So he was putting this slide, with a little line, and he put dot, dot, dot. That's possibility. Okay? It has gone that much, it's possibility to go over. Anyway, that was a conference, and so during the conferences when we came to know all this, one by one, the same time the Cor Unum, the internal bulletin came, and there was an article, the editorial of Bishop Felle, talking about the Roman friends, our friends in Rome. Concrete circumstances have changed, this kind of thing, And they were wondering what's happening. And the Bishop's conference, Bishop Williamson's, his conference, and the bulletin all fell under the same lines, and we started discussing the matter. And that was a very hot debate there. And we were asking questions to Father Kuchu, because he was our superior of district. We asked the questions. He could not come with an answer. I think, if I remember well, I may be wrong, but this is what remains in my mind. I think he said something like, I know that much the same as you know. So meaning that I don't know anything about what you know. So that's kind of thing he tried to say. Yes, it was either he was kept at dark, or he tried to hide things, one or other. Only God knows. Anyway, and Father Kutu was not able to give proper answers why these things are happening and all that. And when he was, so to speak, cornered in a certain sense, especially Father Cesar, saying that if you are going to go to Rome, I am not going to follow. I will not follow you to Rome, he said. Under these circumstances, to the unconverted Rome. Father Kutu, I think he said something like, no, I will not leave my society. I will live there until they impose me to say new mass. So obviously he's creating an extreme situation. Until that happens, I will not leave the society. That's the kind of a talk that was given. In any case, so all the priests were discussing. Some priests chose to remain silent, and many of us, we spoke and expressed our concern. And finally, at the end of the, I suppose, in the couple of days or 3 days meeting, Father Kutu said, put those things in writing. I will pass on to the superior, because they were claiming that you have to talk to the superior. You have to, you should not. If you have questions or concerns, you should talk to your superiors. Okay, sir. These are the concerns we put in writing. So pass it on to the filling. But I don't think any answer was given for that in any case. So that was the beginning. And after that, for the Chazar, he started going public. Until that, it was amongst the priests they were discussing. Then he went public, starting warning the people. This thing is going on. The move towards Rome is happening. So you need to be warned. So he started preaching. Father Pfeiffer started preaching elsewhere. Both of them knew that each one of them are preaching about this particular topic, but they did at the same time. Then the pilgrimage happened in the Philippines, and Father Cesar spoke about this in the pilgrimage, during the pilgrimage as well. And then he went off to, I think, France for a holiday and so on. But Father Pfeiffer went for a holiday to US, to his place, for the ordinations and so on. And two things happened. Father Cesar did not, or he was transferred to France under the condition that he keeps his mouth shut, that he should not speak about this matter. So you go to your new place, I think about 30 people are there, that much. So he's in charge of one chapel, 30 people, around 30 people are there. That's all. That's your job to do. You go there, keep your mouth shut. But he refused to go. If that is the condition that you are going to impose on me, I am not going to go. If I choose to go, or if I am asked to go, I should be free to speak, especially about this serious matter. So because they imposed this condition, he did not go. And for Pfeiffer, he did not come back soon enough to Philippines because he was organizing this meeting in US. So eventually these two priests were expelled around about October, I think, that year. And they did, and they were going around the Philippines, Asia and other part of the world as far as they could to warn the people, the faithful, about that. In any case, when they came to Philippines, this decree of expulsion was issued, and they told all the priests to read in the chapels. When they told me this, I refused to read in the chapel that I was in charge, one of the chapels in Philippines. The reason that I gave was I don't agree with the reasons given for expulsion, and this is unjust, so I will not read it. If you want to read it, you can read it yourself, I said. So Father Kutu tried and go before me, tried to talk to people. He did meet a few people. The week after, a week later, I was doing my annual retreat Another Filipino priest, he went for the Hela, he went and he read, which I refused to read, the decree of expulsion, he read. And they locked up the chapel and everything, fearing that Father Chesal or Father Piper will come there to say Mass and all that. They locked up. The following week when I went, I found everything in disarray. No, chalice is not there, missal is not there, all things are locked up, all this. But anyway, this kind of attitude started then. But eventually, as you know, Father Chesal was kind of forced to say Mass in the street because they didn't let the usual altars for him to say Mass. In any case, these things were happening. Meanwhile, I went back to my place, which is in the Vishet in Iloilo, and at Iloilo, Father Daniels, you may know, he was in the Holy Cross Seminary some years ago. Father Daniels, Father Cacho, a Filipino priest, and myself. We were the three priests in the novitiate. We discussed about these matters. Father Cacho decided to follow the line of Bishop Philip, trying to defend every time possibly he was trying to do that. Father Daniels was reasonable at that time. He was very reasonable. He would say, he will argue and question Bishop Philip's remarks or whatever words. He would question that. And I obviously objected to this move towards Rome. Even Father Daniels did object, but he did not say anything public to other people, but we were discussing amongst themselves. So that was the scenario then. And therefore, everybody knew about it in the district of Asia. I think Father Kultur knew about it. Father Daniels, who is my immediate superior, knew about where I stand in the whole issue. So it's not a secret, it is of public knowledge. Even when I discuss with the faithful, I told them what I thought of the whole affair. But unlike like Father Pfeiffer and Chesal, I never preferred to speak it from the pulpit. I didn't want to drag that matter as a matter of discussion or for the sermon. I never wanted to do that. But I did speak in the private conversation. Like after the Mass, for example, when people are there, I will express my opinion and all that. So things went on. As you know, they developed in other places for Kuko in states and other priests over in other places. So after end of that year, December 2012, yes, I went back to India after Christmas for a holiday, and my visa also came to an end. It has to come to an end because otherwise I cannot go back to India. So I needed to go back to India because otherwise they would say your holiday has gone. You did not use it before the year, which they did the previous year. So I went back to India after a month and supposed to come back to Philippines, get my visa renewed or apply for a new visa, and I was supposed to go back to Philippines. Things did not go well, so I was not able to get the missionary visa as they were telling to me to get. So things got delayed. Meanwhile, the Holy Week and all that came, so I was used in India. I was happy to do that, no problem. And after Easter, April, first week, these two priests, Father Pfeiffer and Father Chesal, came to India. So back in November, when they had a kind of plan to go to India and visit India, already there was a circular issued by Father Kultur to the champions saying, we should not, these priests are trying to come and do these things. They are not allowed here. So don't receive them, don't allow them to say Mass. That was a circular that was sent out to the coordinators of various centers. But since they did not turn up in November, nobody talked about it. But when they came really in the month of April, the year after, again Father Kultur renewed that circular and sent it again. But this time they did come, and one of the There are many places, but one place where they said Mass was a place that they themselves built it. That is in Chennai, where I am now. There's a school, private school. At the top of the school they built a little, it's not a permanent thing, but it will stand as long as it could, okay? Under Indian standards. They built this place, and because of this place only they are able to have masses regularly, and I think it's since 2000, even before ordination, my ordination, I think 2002, I think. Since then, since that time, the mass is being said in that city, Chennai or Madras. If not for this school, I think they would not have developed the place or done anything about it. But this gentleman allowed the priest to use the place, first in the classrooms, and I think Father Pfeiffer got sick of arranging for the mass and putting back to be ready to be used as a classroom the day after, because Sunday and Monday is there. So because the faithful were doing this, rearranging it for mass and putting it back for the classroom to be So it was difficult. They were doing it for a long time, 2-3 years, I think 2 years at least they were doing it. Then Father Pfeiffer decided, with the consent of the owner of the school, decided to put a structure over the top floor. So people have this gratitude for him, because he did so much for them, and he spoke to many people and brought to the faith and all that. So at least out of the gratitude, they wanted to allow this priest to say mass, because they can't say no who has built the chapel for them. So they said they will allow, and the owner said yes, he will allow. It's only mass they are going to say, just allow this. He allowed it. And as it was given as a threat by Father Pito, they decided to close down the center, mass center, for the reason that these priests are allowed to say mass over there. And since I was there when this threat came, I thought this is unjust, and I thought they will not implement this kind of threat. It's just a talk. They may not implement it. That's what I thought. But they were serious about it, and they did implement. And the following Sunday, this happened on Saturday, the day after. The usual priest who was coming there at the time, Father Christophe Valan, a French priest, he said mass, and instead of giving a sermon, he just read out the decree of closure of the chapel. Okay, because you allow this priest, we will not come back to this chapel to say mass, and that's the end of it. And so as I have given the kind of guarantee the people before, they will not do it. If at all they will close this place, then I will look after it, don't worry. That is the kind of guarantee I give people. But they did really close it down, so I stayed back in Chennai to look after these people, to give sacraments. Otherwise, because these people have left the Nova Solar to come back tradition, our society was treating this way, giving the sacramental prayer. So that was the beginning of the resistance back in India. Well, I never expected that this would happen, but it happened. So since I took charge of the place and they have closed down, I took charge of the place. They wanted to get rid of me, because I was the member of the Society of St. Pius X. But I was not able to go back to the Philippines because of the visa problems. So it was a kind of temporarily kept there. And meanwhile this happened. Now I am taking charge of the place practically. So they want how to bring. I think they never expected this backfiring of the whole affair, but it backfired on them. Now they don't know what to do except for transferring me here to Toynam, to Melbourne. Well, Melbourne was my first place. Toynam was my first posting, which I stayed for a couple of months before I was transferred to Sydney, Auckland. Alright, so they tried their best to say, okay, you are transferred to Toynam, you have to go. They said, no, I am not going to Toynam under these circumstances. They have deprived these people of Mass, 50-60 of them, they have deprived them of Mass, and now I'm the only priest who gives mass to them. Now you want to move me to Toyna. Under normal circumstances, I have no problems in going there, but I am needed here, and I have a moral responsibility to look after the souls there. So I did not follow the order of my transfer of going to Toyna. So they initiated the usual step to expel me over a period of time, give me letters, which I got it and kept it. I didn't reply it. That's not no point of replying, because I have explained to them why I did that. And so amongst many other things, they said you are being disrespectful to the superiors, one of the accusation. Another thing, you did not go take up your transfer. And third, I think it's something like you are aligning with those priests who are expelled. These were a few reasons that were given. Finally, they expelled me. I think it was dated in sometime in September 8 or September 13, I can't exactly remember. But it was given to me a month later. I think meanwhile they were expecting me to make the step, I suppose. They were expecting me to retract my actions and come back to the fold. I think that was their expectation. Did not happen. So eventually they issued the decree of expulsion. Was given to me by Father Christophe Bobla, who became the prior of India. Then Brucheli was prior, then he was demoted, and Father Bobla was put as a prior. And to give more information about Father Christophe Bobla, you may have heard about Flying Squirrel. Okay, that speaks for him. So he is the author, or he is the editor of the Flying Squirrel. And because of the outrage that caused, I think they have withdrawn that. They are not publishing the Flying Squirrel anymore. It's not flying anymore. So that was Father Christophe Bobla who gave me the decree of expulsion. A few months later, he himself went away, not to join the resistance, but to join the local diocese in his country, in France. I suppose this would have not taught a good lesson for others, who were attacking us, at least back in India. Yes, Father Christophe Bobla was not put up fight anymore. He wants to go to Rome at any cost, and he was having this false charity towards his brethren. So he didn't want to speak about the truth. So he made the compromise. And he was a bit more faster than Bishop Feli, I think. So he already went ahead. Well, so anyway, this is the way that the resistance has started and happened. And also, therefore, I ended up staying in Chennai, looking after 3 other places apart from Chennai, which is Goa, Bangalore, and Bombay. I covered these other places, Goa and Bombay, every alternative Sunday. So one Sunday I finish my mass in Chennai, I take a flight to Goa. The other Sunday I will finish mass in Chennai, take my flight to Bombay, and come back. Every Saturday I go to Bangalore. Bangalore is about 350 kilometers. So I leave, let's say, early morning mass in Chennai on Saturday, take train. 7:30 in the morning. The train reaches Bangalore about 1:30 in the afternoon. You have a little bit of rest and say the evening mass about 6 o'clock. Take a night train back to Chennai. Train reaches about 5 o'clock in the morning. Go take shower and go back to chapel to say mass Sunday. Then follow up take the flight to Bombay or Goa. So this is the routine that happens there. Chennai, 50 to 60 people, sometimes a little bit more, sometimes a little bit less, but average 50 to 60, that range. So Chennai is assured of every Sunday mass now. Then Bangalore every Saturday only, maybe once in a month on Sunday. When Father Pancras, one of the diocesan priests, retired priest, he comes to help me in Chennai. Basically, he comes around this time, like first Saturday, first Friday. He conducts that devotion and he stays to the Sunday. So that is how he helps me. And so on that time I will do Bangalore on Sunday as well. Sunday then I go to one of the other places, Bombay or Goa. So that is how it's happening. Other places I would say Bangalore a little bit less, about 15. When the SSPX had a massacre, that was about the number they had. 12 or sometimes 15. But no, most of them they come to organize. So, and the particular family where I say the mass, they also come. So that makes up the number. So we are getting 12 to 15 in Bangalore. Goa, it varies. But Goa is a mixed crowd. It is not, you cannot say 100% resistance. It's a mixed crowd. A lot of Nova Scotia people also come. Those who are still frequenting the Nova Scotia, they will also come at that particular Sunday when I go. Other Sundays, I think they go to local parishes, they choose the priest, they go here, they go there. I think somehow they are doing it. But anyway, but they are not traditional Catholics yet, but maybe we may say that they are on the way. So eventually they may get convinced, but at the time they are not fully convinced. So they go, it's a bit of mix. Bombay, I'm saying massive band out of the place. We used to be most Catholic in Bombay, but now the Muslims are taking over. So the Catholics are losing the grip over there. Anyway, I say mass over there. We started saying mass in Bombay. They call it Mumbai now. One of the chapels that belongs to the lowest of the nuns. We take it for a rent. They give out this chapel for rent to few groups, prayer groups. So we were considered to be a prayer group, so we were given the place as a rent. So we pay the rent and we use the chapel Sunday evening, 6 o'clock onwards, 6 to 7 or something. So this was happening. So what happened was one of the faithful, I think, who goes to the other man's, SSPX man in Bombay, he got wind of this. He went or telephoned the Archbishop of Bombay, complaining about how come the nuns there allow this group here. They don't accept Pope. How come that they allow these people here? Say obviously it's a false accusation. We never rejected Pope. We accepted Pope. We are not sedevacantist. But this person who is actually more inclined to sedevacantism actually. So he, I think, gave this complaint to the bishop, and bishop telephoned the nuns, and so nuns refused to renew their, they refused to give the place for us in the future. Whatever was booked early, it remained, but after the time they are not taking any more bookings from us. So we are out of the place after a while. After 4 or 5 weeks, we are out. And but the lady who was organizing in Bombay, she went to one of the Catholic friends, I suppose, got his place for nights. They call it a studio. They said I never went to visit it, so I don't know exactly what it is. They call it to be a studio where they make shootings and all that. This place was given to us free of cost. It's for the mass and we said no rent, no charge. But before the day that we are going to say mass, the evening, the day before in the evening, a telephone call came from the person saying, oh sorry, we can't give the place to you because you are not accepting the Pope. So obviously the same person has told this fine founder that we are going to say mass here and told the same thing. So it happened 3 times like that. And we were more nervous because we are almost exhausted the possibilities of having mass in any hall. They had other places, but that's going to be very expensive. They can't afford it. So we were much worried. Then eventually we found another place, but from this time onwards we kept things secret. Nobody knew about where exactly the mass happened. So we only told the people who will definitely come and work with us. Since he came to know that still the mass is going on in Bombay, because the people can find out that I am not there, I am gone to Bombay, so they get the information around. So they found out and they were wondering where they were seeing mass. They could not find out. So this person, man, telephoned this lady saying that, oh, I don't want to go back to Malad, which is a place of the SSPX where there is a mass. I want to come to this mass here, so that it is near to my, somewhat closer to my residence. So from now onwards, I am planning to come to this mass. Can you tell us where it is? This lady first was a bit apprehensive about this inquiry, but however he said, okay, I will tell you. But she didn't immediately tell her venue, but she told him, okay, I will let you know. Meanwhile, wife of this particular man happened to meet one of our parishioners, one of our faithful, in the train station, and this wife of this man was dissuading, talking against the resistance. Don't go to the masses, it's invalid or whatever reason they gave. She was giving this kind of talk to this lady and was discouraging her from going to mass, to a resistance mass. So we got the news. So this man was trying and making a talk as if he wants really to come to mass, whereas the real situation is that the wife was saying things against it. So we thought, okay, so again the plot is happening, so we did not let the venue known to him. So therefore, still the mass is happening at the same venue. So I don't know when they are going to put a stop to it. Anyhow, this is the kind of trouble that we have in Bombay from the SSPX. And before that, Father Gregory Noronha, some of you may have heard or known, he was very friendly with me and he agreed with our position mostly. He was very friendly with me and we thought eventually he will come and join us. But the opposite happened. All of a sudden these friendly talks and the contacts stopped. I didn't know why it happened. But all of a sudden it stopped and I rang him several times, he did not answer the phone. Eventually I emailed him and then asked him what is happening. Then he himself told me, I don't want to contact you anymore and all that. I thought it is a pressure from the superiors of this society, but he kind of denied it. But I think really it's a pressure. Maybe another thing could have provoked him or triggered the whole thing is perhaps this, that I started visiting Goa and Bombay, which was his mass centers. He was in charge of those places. So because the faithful started coming to my mass, I think he got upset with me, so he stopped contacting me. Well, I just respected his views, I suppose. I didn't want to put him in difficulties. I just left it like that. I didn't say anything. Just left it like that. Well, that's basically the thing. Down south, I do have some influence. The people knew me. And they only complained to me about the society's, the new way of doing things, especially, shutting down the mass centers, cancelling the masses, this kind of thing. When I used to go to that set to 3 places, 3 masses on Sunday I used to do. They closed down 1 mass center, so that we have become 2. I used to give at least 3 masses during the week, Saturday, Sunday and Monday. It's the first Friday, even the first Friday too. So 4 masses at the time. I used to give like that. But since I left, they have cut down the masses to once a week, so just on Sunday. So people were really complaining about that. I don't know what I can do because I am full. I can't move anymore, to any more places, so I'm kind of stuck. So I couldn't help them. But still people do talk to me. When they come to Chennai, they come to my masses and all that. Basically that. And as I was talking about the school, on the top of which we have a math center, I should also mention this another thing. We have a priory in Chennai. This was a place donated by one of the parishioners who comes to the resistance masses. Before she gave this to, she has a written testament saying that this will go to the, well, actually her own original property will go to the society. When they sold the original property for the reason of taxes and so on, the property was purchased, the new property was purchased on her name again. And she wrote a testament saying that after my lifetime this will go to Saint Pius X. And since the resistance happened, and she knew Father Piper very well, and in fact she gave the property, the things to Father Piper. Okay, Father, do with it what you want, basically use it for finance for society. At that time, Father Piper was still a member of the society. She gave. But anyway, after all this happening, after the April 1st incident, she revoked her will, which she has written in favor of the society, and they gave it to the resistance. So that they cannot not take it well. Society could not take that well. And so they got angry with her and all that, said that you are committing grave injustice by doing this. All kind of thoughts they did. But that's the best thing she could have done, because not just for her, but the entire community of about 50-60 people get mass just because of that. So this is the place where I live right now. This is in the middle of the town, but close to the school, 50 meters away from the school. So very, very favorable situation in that sense. Talking about the future development, but this is not a place, the chapel does not belong to us in any case. So after the lifetime of this gentleman, we don't know what will happen. So we were talking under these lines, we have to do something for our future, somewhere to live, for a chapel and all that. So we decided to go to the particular village, or in Kandigari. It's one of the villages that Father Piper started off the mass. But unfortunately, the village is not with us. They fell into the trap of the society. Well, obviously they don't understand the crisis in the first place, but they fell into the trap of the society, so they are not with us at this moment. Anyhow, we have purchased a little property, that few acres, in this village, and we have planned to build firstly a home for the aged, because of especially the donor who gave the property to us. She is now living in a rented house, and she is more than 80 years old. She may be needing a place to be looked after soon. I don't know how soon, but soon. And she should be provided with the mass and sacraments towards the end of her life. So for this and for a few other people, we are planning to build up a little home for aged, one thing. Then a little priory where other priests and seminarians priests at least who we kept and formed a little bit before they were sent to other seminaries. And thirdly, a chapel. So now we have started up almost a little project of a few rooms, each for home for age, a chapel, and a little priory. Hopefully, I am expecting a seminarian to be with me very soon. He's waiting for his final exams this July. So after that, most probably he will come and stay with me. You will be surprised when you will hear who it is, but anyway, I will not say it yet. I don't want to put pressure on myself. So I am trying to do a little bit of space for the future, anything that can be done. In the beginning, Father Chazal said that he will take up residence with me. But when he went back to Philippines and promoted all his mission, he's totally occupied with Japan, Korea, Singapore, Malaysia, and here also. So he could not keep his words. He could not come back to India to take up his residence. Well, I understand the situation. But anyway, one of the attacks made by the society against the resistance against me at the time was that I am alone. It's not good for a priest to be alone, which is true, obviously. So don't support him, don't encourage that kind of situation to him. So this was before my expulsion, hoping that people would put pressure on me, or go back to society, you should not be alone, go back. They were expecting this kind of response from the people, so they were saying, don't support him, it's not good for him to be alone. But they were the ones who put pressure on for Noruna not to talk to me. So they created the situation, and they are quoting the same situation. We should not be alone, so don't encourage this one. But they made me to be alone that way. Anyway. And another argument given was, he's alone again. If he is sick, he may not be able to provide you masses on Sunday. So now choose between us and him. We are many priests here. If one is sick, other priests can come and help you, no problem. We'll replace it. We have many priests, but he is alone. He can't replace. He doesn't have any other priest to help him. They said that. After a few weeks, they themselves cancelled the mass on that village. And the cancelling mass is happening. They cancel the mass on account of retreat, for example. That's a women's retreat. Some few women are doing a retreat. They are cancelling a couple of mass centers, Sunday masses, on account of this kind of retreat, which was never done in the society. So anyway, they are giving an argument why people should not support the resistance, but they themselves do that, cancelling mass and all this kind of thing. So anyway, they are making this attack. Although Father Naruna stopped communicating with me, Father Teresian Babu, who is well in accepting the line of Bishop Philip, he comes and sees me from time to time. When he is in the city, he will just ring me and he will just come and talk. But he will give all sort of arguments without conviction. Without any convictions, he just, as if reading from the paper, kind of argument he will give, trying to convince me somehow this way or that way. Anyway, and in any case, they are not happy because their prior went away. He went back to the Nosolo diocese. So at this moment, they are a bit quiet. They don't have ammunition. They ran out of ammunition to attack us. So at this moment, they are a bit quiet. But on our side, I told the people not to attack them, just ignore all their arguments and these things. I think to an extent people kept that. So therefore, it's kind of a one-side war. They just attack us, we don't do anything to attack them. But things happen in such a way that things are being exposed in themselves, like for this priest leaving and things like that. So this is basically the situation of the resistance in India. I want to give up. When I get another seminarian, when he gets ordained, some additional help, that will give an extra supply of priests this way, I suppose. When Father Pico comes, it's better for you. You have somebody a little bit more permanent, I suppose. Hopefully he comes. Last thing that I heard from Father Chazal is that because he kind of gave out some literature to the faithful in Tanzania, in Africa, the society is taking action on him. What sort of action, we have to wait and see. So if they take action quicker, more easily you will get a priest. But anyway, in each mistake that they make, it is additional strength for us. Well, that's how it happened in the District of Asia. So Father Kurik, Father Chazal frequently wrote about, I am very thankful for Kutu. He does a little, he does a certain acts or actions that only favors us instead of doing any good for them. May that be the expulsion of the priest or issuing some circular, things like that. Anyway, that is it. Any questions or anything you want to ask? Yes.
You mentioned Father Daniels.
Father Daniels, well, he is of that opinion. I don't know what he's thinking now. When I was with him, he is of the opinion, we should stay together in the society and we should resist and fight. Unfortunately, Father Tim Piper joined in this kind of, we actually all discussed these things together. Father Chesal, myself, Father Tim Piper, Father Daniels, Father Kashyap kind of deluded and he just ran away from the thing. But we all discussed these things. And well, unfortunately, Father Daniels and Father Tim Piper is of the opinion that they should fight from inside. One of the things that they told me, Father, don't leave the society. You stay inside and fight. But at the other moment, the next moment, they would say, there's nothing to fight. There's no change. If there's no change, what I'm going to fight? So they contradict themselves, But it is a particular argument they give for each instant, and one argument contradicts the another. So for Daniels.
Well, there was talk of the society using this sort of chapels in India.
Yes.
What is the relationship sort of there?
I heard there was a letter given by the Archbishop of Chennai, Mylapore, to the society. What exactly is the wording of it, I don't know. I have not read it. But there is such a letter. And basically, they are given a chapel where they can say Mass. But apparently, there no sort of Mass happens in the same chapel on a Tuesday because it's the same time as chapel. It happens on Tuesday. But here you see the lack of logic on their part. They said, we will not say Mass again in this chapel, in this altar, because you allowed somebody who are against our Superior General to say Mass. Now our question is, all the priests who are saying no sound of Mass in that particular chapel that they got now, are they with Bishop Fele or not? So it's okay for them to go and say Mass on the altar, the novice of the Mass is said, and those who belong to the Conciliar Church, it's okay for them to go there and say Mass on the same altar, but turning this way. Obviously, it's a novice of the altar. Before it was a table. So novice of the one setup. Our people, like the traditional people, they go and push the table towards the wall and happily said the Mass. And somehow they were given this idea. I don't know if the Archbishop proposed it or they insisted it. I don't know. Something happened. They started renovating the chapel. They had now good, nice stained either side. They told me stained glass windows and the beautiful. It came in one of the apostles, if you can recollect. One of the apostles, this magazine of Asia. It came with a picture, the drawings and all that. Like this. So this was built by the bishop. So the bishop sponsored everything. But our society very proudly put this picture on the magazine. But it was sponsored by the Archbishop. They did all that, all beautiful background for the altar. And when they came to altar, it's a nose of the altar. It's not traditional altar. Good renovation was done, good stained glass window was put on, but it's a nose of the altar. Before it was a table, so they were able to push it against the wall, easy for them. Now it's a permanent concrete or whatever, marble or whatever. It's permanent. They couldn't push it, so they are almost standing kind of the edge. All the server could not easily pass through. They had to squeeze through little space. So under that circumstances, they continued saying Mass. Last information I got was there was some problem with the local people, problem of key. So they were given other place, I think, I heard, but I'm not quite sure whether they have moved on the chapel. And just they but filled up the place with all the local people there, not necessarily traditional Catholics. They like the Mass, I suppose. They said they came, not traditionally. They are convinced of the doctrine of the position. what's is happening.
Do you preach in Tamil or do you preach in English?
When I am in Chennai, I preach in Tamil. When I go to Bombay, go work in English. Anything else? Well, I'm sorry I didn't have slides to show you. Father, to the Son, and the Holy Ghost. Amen. Glory be to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Ghost.
As it was in the beginning, is now, and ever shall be, world without end. Amen.
Father, and